All right, we are streaming on Facebook Live, and I am here with Mr. Google himself, Aadam Lodhi, and he's the owner of ALO Media, and he's based out of Toronto. So up there he's up there. I'm in Virginia, so that's a baseball throw away. A couple of them
Yeah,
from, but
yeah, you're not far.
yeah. So well, I'm super stoked about this. Aadam was a referral connection through some other good friends, and we're just going to jump on today and talk about specifically Google AdWords and how do you leverage this as a moving company, or if you're a junk removal company, this is probably going to line up with you too. But I'll tell you, Aadam knows his stuff. I mean, he was telling me some stats last month, right? You had like a company you got 111 leads for at less than $3 per lead. He works with, I think, over 50 companies just with running Google ads,
Yeah,
and he serviced over 100 companies. So this is not somebody that just came out of their basement last month and just started doing this. This is somebody that's proficient. They know their stuff. They've done this. They've done all the legwork. He's studied. He's done. I mean, he doesn't just work with one type of business either. He's expanded in a lot of different niches. So, Aadam, just kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we're just gonna have a conversation, right? We're just gonna jump in.
yeah, sounds good. Yeah, hey everyone. I run my own marketing agency, and I work with all different niches. From martial arts gyms, HVAC companies, lawyers, dentists, barbers, authors. I work with all different types of niches, and one of my specialties is Google Ads. So I've been doing this for a couple of years, and what I really specialize in is, at the end of the day, getting you guys more clients. A lot of other Google Ads agencies are more focused on delivering clicks or cost per click, but I understand with a lot of small business owners, at the end of the day, all you guys care about is how many new people you're getting in, and that's what I love to help you guys with. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and my parents own a small business up here as well. So how I got it started in a marketing is at my parents' small business. I was taking marketing courses, and for a couple of years after high school, I was just doing trial and error there, and really learning some good strategies. And once I found I was getting them some really good results, I started my own company and just started expanding from there. So yeah,
Nice.
that's
I didn't
a little
know
bit.
that. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you basically were like, "Hey, mom, dad, I'm going to play with your money while we figure out this stuff." I
Yeah,
bet.
and they didn't mind because they were getting better results, so they're like, yeah, go ahead, do what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's so cool. That's so cool. And I think sometimes too, like the ad agency owners, sometimes people don't give them enough respect for where they came from, because most people like yourself that you start with not much. I mean, you just got to put in a ton of hours and learn, and then you got to build trust with people that own businesses and say, hey, I can help you. And talk about that for a minute. Talk about that trust factor, as far as because there's some people that they use somebody and the person didn't get them results, and it's kind of tough because if you're a small business owner, there's only so much money to allocate. How big
Mhm.
is in trust? Like, before we even get into talking about the technique stuff, how big is trust with this?
Trust is huge. There's many agencies who they fail to develop that personal relationship with their clients. And as soon as someone wants to work with me, I hop on a call with them right away. And I don't even jump to their business. I want to know who they are as a person. I want to know their values, what their company stands for. Um, because I think it's important having that relationship with any of my clients. And all my clients have my number. They can call me anytime they need, if they have an issue with anything, because I understand the frustration on being on their end if they're trying to get a hold of someone, and they just can't if there's an issue going on. So I'm available to my clients all the time. And really how I got my business to the point it's at now and still growing really quickly is just delivering good results to all of my clients. Like I've never had to make one cold call ever. Everything is just from you know, people getting good results, and, you know, the word spreading that I'm getting good results for my clients. And that's what I aim for at the end of the day. And I'm also very transparent with my clients too. You know, I'm not going to say, hey, you're going to get exactly this amount of leads every month at this price. You know, I say, okay, this is what I get on average. You might be lower, you might be higher, but, you know, I'm going to do my best to optimize every month and get your results better.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what it's about. It's in my opinion, because I'm more on the consulting and coaching end of the spectrum, but it's just transparency. That's probably one of the most important things. And if you're a small business out there, buckle up, because we're going to talk about good stuff. I'm stoked, but just know that, you know, who you're listening to is somebody that's not just doing this for money. He's doing this because he wants to help people. Right. And that's why I bring people on these calls, these interviews. I do these Facebook Lives with people that I know, okay, I've vetted them a little bit myself. I know, okay, this is somebody I trust. If I trust them, then you can trust them. So let's just talk about, if I'm a business, we're talking specifically to moving companies.
Yeah.
Let's say I don't really know much about Google AdWords. You know, give us an opener, kind of give us that open on like, what is this? How does this fit in the marketing strategy?
So Google Ads is probably one of the most essential pieces of marketing I like to do with my clients. Now, you know, with marketing, you can, you know, there's different avenues you can go down. You know, there's Google Ads, there's Facebook ads, you know, social media, but just to name a few. But, you know, in general, I like to tell my clients, don't put all your eggs in one basket. You know, if you're already doing Facebook, or if you're already doing some sort of marketing, it's good to also, you know, take your marketing budget and diversify it among the
Yeah.
platforms. And Google is a huge one for that. Now, basically, the type of Google ads I run is called Google search ads. There's different types of Google ads. There's Google ads for shopping that you might have seen before when you're looking up clothing on Google. There's Google ads for video. So like YouTube videos, like when you have an ad, a 5-second ad come up, that's an example of one. But the Google ads that I do for most small businesses are Google search ads. And what that is someone looks up a term in Google related to your business, your ad will come up. And there's depending on how, you know, big your demographic is, if you're in a more competitive location, then there'll be multiple different businesses bidding on that keyword, and you have to have the top bid to come up in the #1 spot in Google when someone looks up a term related to your business. But what Google search ads is setting up keywords related to your business and then having an ad for all of those keywords. It's called PPC, or pay-per-click marketing, meaning that you only pay when someone actually clicks on the ad. Someone just looks at your ad and keeps scrolling, you don't pay anything for that. So you still get that, you know, brand awareness and that reach. You only pay when someone clicks on your ad.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, there's some of that added benefit that people maybe aren't always thinking about, is like your name's on there, you know,
Exactly.
top of the page. If they search it, they're going to see it. So
Yes.
and that's sometimes the stuff that you can't really track numbers wise as much as, you know, somebody may see your name, but then they may come to you in a different route, so to speak. So yeah, there's important. What are some, and I think what the plan is, right, Adam, you're going to share your screen and kind of set up a little bit of a campaign here and just show everybody, but what are some common mistakes? What are some things that you just see typically a small business owner, they normally, they go down this route and it doesn't do well for them?
Yeah. Common mistakes. #1 common mistake is probably not setting up your conversion tags. So when you set up a Google Ads account, one of the first things you want to do is set up your conversion tracking. If you don't know what conversion tracking is, it's basically being able to track who signs up as a lead on your website. So who enters their information, or you know, who calls your business, to track those. And it's important to set up your conversion tracking, because with your website, there's going to be people who just come organically, who don't see the ads, and there's going to be people who sign up on your website who come from the actual paid advertising. And you want to track how many people are signing up and how much you're paying for each of those leads to sign up.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be important to know your numbers to see what your ROI is from the ads.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest, most common mistakes, not setting that up and people just focusing on how many clicks they're getting. Another big mistake is ad groups. Now with Google, first you set up your campaign where, you can target, different ages and, gender, location, a bunch of cool things.
Yeah.
Inside of your campaign, you have different ad groups. Now, one problem or a mistake a lot of people make when first doing Google Ads is they put all their keywords. So let's say you have, 5, 10 different services. They put all the keywords from all their different services in one ad group. And then they have maybe a couple ads for that. And what happens is your ads aren't that relevant to all the different, your ads are a lot more broad. And with Google
they're not
Ads,
it's kind of the shotgun method rather than the rifle method.
exactly, 100%. And with Google Ads, you want it to be as niche as possible. You want the users to have a good experience. They look up, movers near me, they see an ad that's directed to that. They click on the ad and it goes to a page that's directed to that specific keyword. So you want it to be a very consistent experience for your users. But I'd say those are two of the biggest ones. There's other mistakes that we'll show you guys as we go through the campaign, but those are the two ones that I see from a lot of different people.
And you were talking with me a little bit, Adam, about like what's the goal? I think that's where a big part where we got to start too, right? Is what is our goal for the call to action? Do we want them to fill out a form? Do we want them to book something? Do we want them to call? So we were talking, and I believe the number one goal is to get them to call our phone for what we're doing, because after they call, that's sales. That's our skill on the phone. Our Google ad has nothing to do with our skill on the phone, in my opinion, right? So our goal, I think, is to get the phone call, because that's an opportunity. Anytime we're talking to a customer is an opportunity. So we're talking about getting more phone calls, more calls to your business about your service. So Adam, do you want to maybe jump in and just start showing everybody a little bit kind of how you get this thing started?
Yeah, definitely. Here, let me just set up my screen.
Absolutely.
1 second. Yeah, going back to what you were saying about calls, with Google Ads, you can actually set up your calls, your tracking for calls, so that it only tracks calls maybe that maybe the call has to be like minimum 60 seconds. So, or maybe a minimum like 90 seconds. And that way, if someone's just asking a quick question or if it's a bot, it won't count those people as phone calls.
Awesome. Yeah. And you'll get those people. You get those people that are just like, maybe they're asking for a location that you don't even service. Like that would be somebody that's negligent. That's not a lead. That would be in your category. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So here it is. So this is the Google Ads platform. And what you're going to do is just sign into Google Ads on your computer. If you have a Google account, you can do it. If not, then they'll just prompt you to create a Google account.
Yeah.
And then it'll take you to this screen when you go to sign up for a new account.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just start from this screen just because I already have a Google account.
Yeah.
So for today, we're gonna be using this company right here, New York Roadway Moving. So we'll use them as a dummy account. So first, we're just gonna start with the name of the account.
Yep.
Now, there's different types of Google Ads accounts. Going back to the question that you were asking about common Google Ads mistakes, here's another common Google Ads mistake. So a lot of business owners will choose this smart account when doing Google Ads. And it basically what that is Google doing the new keywords for you. They do the ads for you. Everything with the Google Ads is automated. Google does it for you. And a lot of business owners like it because when starting out with Google, just because, again, they don't have to learn anything themselves. They can just kind of get Google to do everything. But I've seen so many different businesses try this smart campaign, and it's nowhere near the same results as your Google Ads account doing it yourself. Because with your Google Ads account, you can, limit the amount you spend per click, and you can have control on what your ads say and what the offers are, and everything is just so much more detailed.
Yeah, definitely.
So country, this guy is in New York, so we'll do US, US dollar. So save and continue.
This is kind of like free, some free coaching for if this roadway moving company sees this video, you're like, oh, okay, perfect.
Exactly.
I'm sure they're already Google Ads.
So right here, by the way, it'll ask you to set up your billing. I'm just going to use one of my old billing accounts. I'm not actually going to make this go live, so it's not a big deal. So we'll go into the account now. And this is what you'll see. So if you already have a Google Ads account, it might not look exactly like this at first. If it doesn't look like this to you, you're just going to want to come over here to the top right-hand bar and click on Tools and Settings. In this area, there'll just be one drop-down if you have the beginner account. And at the bottom of the drop-down, it'll say Switch to an Expert account. You want to click that button so you have access to all the expert tools and settings.
See, I wouldn't have known
that. Learn something new every day.
Right.
Okay, so now we're going to come over to a new campaign, and we're going to get started setting up a Google Ads campaign. So going back to another question you said, what's the goal for everyone? Is it sales, leads, website traffic, product and brand consideration, brand awareness and reach, promotion? There's a bunch of different goals you can choose. Personally, most small businesses, their goal is leads, whether it's like a call or sign up on their website. Usually most people want to optimize for leads. So that's what we're going to go with today. And again, here, I was talking about how there's different types of Google Ads campaigns. So, there's search, smart, like I was just talking about, discovery, display, shopping, video. But, for this video today, we're going to go with the Google Search Ads campaign. It's the most popular type of Google Ads campaigns and usually has some of the best results. So now it's going to ask you to just add your website here. So what I'm going to do is copy the URL. Let me just fix that. There we go. Copy the URL from this website, come here and paste it.
Okay.
So it's going to ask you what your goal, your goal websites. I know we talked about phone calls for a goal, but there's a cool way you can do it with this campaign, and I'm going to show you guys how to set that up. You also have conversion tracking here, which is what we were talking about, the biggest mistake in Google Ads. So you're going to just press a plus button here, and Google creates an action for you, a website lead. If you click install options, you have two options here. So if you don't have control over your website yourself and have someone who runs your website for you, just click email instructions to your website master. You can enter their email, send it over to them, and they'll handle it for you.
Nice.
If you do have control over your website and you understand some of the back end of your website, then you can try to add it yourself. So the first option here is add global site tag. So you're just going to copy this and you're going to add it between the header tags of your site. So if you're with like WordPress or Squarespace or one of those websites, usually it's pretty easy to go into the settings of your website and just add the code in. You can just Google that if you need a tutorial for your specific website provider, but it's not that hard to set up. And then the second code here is tracking once someone actually signs up. So you're going to copy this one and you're going to put it on the thank you page of your website. Thank you page meaning, after someone signs up on your website, they'll land on the thank you page after. So for whoever lands on that page, we're going to add the script to that page. Again, most of you small business owners probably aren't going to be doing this yourselves, so don't worry about that. You can just email it to your webmaster. So now we have the Google Ads search campaign here. Feel free to give your campaign a name at first. So NYC Moving Company, and we'll just do, for today, I'm just showing you guys how to do a search campaign. So we'll turn off display. And display campaign is just another type of Google Ads. I don't like to run them both in the same campaign. I like to do one campaign for search, one for display. Display is a whole nother like tutorial, so maybe another time we'll get into that. All of this stuff, you don't really have to worry about it. But now targeting in audiences. So you're gonna add your location here. Now this part is actually very important. So make sure you click location options. Now under target here, there's different types, people in or who show interest in your targeted locations. And it says they recommend this, or people in or regularly in your targeted locations. So what the first one's gonna do is it doesn't just target people who live in your city. It'll target people who show interest in your city. So if someone lives across the world, but they looked up your city, then they might see the ad. And we don't want that, for small businesses. Most of you guys are just, advertising the people in your demographics. So make sure you click on this one. Now you can enter your location here. So we'll just copy their address. Let me find that. Contact us. I don't see their address here. You know what? We'll just target a city for theirs. But basically, if you have like the full address, you can just type it in there. I'll just type in the city. So New York. Now you can do a radius around your address. So, if you enter your small business's location, usually I go between a 7 to 10 mile radius, but for you guys, it might be more than that. If you have,
if you're in a rural area, you may make that radius a bit bigger. If you're in a pretty urban area, like we're talking about New York, you're probably not going to set that to 60 miles. You set that a little bit closer in. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. 100%. Like with a place like New York, like there's just so much more competition, and you really want to dial in on a specific area. But in rural areas, like I usually go a bigger radius. Audiences here, don't worry about it right now. I'll get into that later, but it won't make a huge difference to your Google Ads campaign. Budget. This is a question a lot of people have when starting Google Ads. What budget do I start with? With all my clients, I don't pressure anyone to start with the high budget right off the bat. I say, maybe you just start with like at least $10 a day, $10 to $15 a day. Because the first 3 weeks of your Google Ads campaign, we're testing. We're testing to see who clicks on your ad. We're testing to see out of the people who click on your ad, who's signing up and what keywords are making them sign up. What age are they when they who are signing up? What gender are they? What time of day are they signing up? And then once we have data on all of this, we can really dial in on the people who are Google Ads are showing us who are signing up. And what that'll do is, up the amount of leads you're getting and lower the cost per lead.
Yeah.
Then, later on, if you guys are happy, with the amount of leads are coming in and your ROI, and you want to get more people to come in, then we can always up the budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll just start with $10 a day. So what do you want to focus on? So this is a big part too. This is your Google Ads bidding. So there's different bidding strategies Google Ads offers. There's conversions, which is optimizing for leads. There's clicks. So the first 3 to 4 weeks, we want to optimize for clicks. What this is going to do is load our account with a bunch of data. And Google is going to try to show our ads to as many people as they can. Mm-hmm. After the first 3-4 weeks, once we have some data on who is converting, then we can switch it to optimize for conversions. And what that'll do is Google will look at the people who have been converting and really dial in on those people. We don't want to do this right off the bat because Google doesn't know who's converting for our ads yet. So we want to get as much data as we can into our account with clicks. And then after 3-4 weeks, switch to conversions.
Yeah, and I think that's the part. Little tips like that right there is what probably the biggest thing that small business owners are missing out on is they don't necessarily know. We're talking about an engine. We're talking about a machine, like Google or Facebook or whatever it is. It's a machine, and you gotta extract the data, and then that's when you make the tweaks. So that's a great example.
Yeah, this is a big one that, again, a lot of people don't think about it. And when people run their Google Smart campaigns, Google does this automatically for them. But, for each business with this, there's different points that you'd want to switch from clicks to conversions. Like if you've done 3-4 weeks of, optimizing for clicks and you don't have one lead yet, maybe don't switch to maximize conversions yet because you still don't have much data. So wait till you have some data on who is signing up, and then you can switch to that.
Right.
Here, so we haven't set up our other conversions yet. I'll show you how to do that, but we can just show what we're tracking for the ads. What we want to track is our website leads and phone calls. Like you were saying, Winston, like that's one of the main goals we're trying to optimize for. And I know, Winston, you were asking about this. This is a big thing. Your site link extensions, your call out extensions, your call extensions. This is huge.
Right.
What this is basically under your Google Ads. So when you make a Google ad, you have like 3 headlines of text, and then you have a description under it, and then it'll have the link to your website. Extension ads are ads that show up right below your text ad. And there's different types of extension ads you can do. You can link different pages on your site. You can have call out. So maybe some of your promotions. You can have some call extensions. So, for people to call you right from the ad, you can do a structured snippet, which is basically showing the services you offer. A lead form extension if you want someone to sign up for a lead right from the ad, message extension, promotion extension, price, location. So there's a lot of cool things you can do here. Normally, like for the average person, I'll stick to like about four different extensions, but some of the newer ones like lead or message or promotion, I'll test out with different people, but they're newer tools in Google.
Yeah. And from my understanding, and Adam, you can talk about this too, but usually one of the most important parts of that is the testimonial site link, like with a residential service type business, especially moving. The nature of moving customers is usually they're calling a few different people, 3-4 people, and sometimes there's just a lot of skepticism around, can you trust a moving company? So that testimonial site link usually has a lot of leverage. As long as you have good testimonials.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's their reassurance when they see your ad, right? If they're probably looking at all these different people, and if they see some really good reviews from you, then that'll make the difference with them.
Yeah. Yep.
So the first one here, site link extensions is, you have 4 different areas. You have your site link text, so the headline, the page name, your descriptions, and then your URL. So I won't do all of them for the sake of time, but I'll show you guys like an example of one. So they have a page on their website called About Us or About. So let's call it About Us. And then we'll put their URL here.
Yep.
And then, maybe we can copy one of the descriptions, put it here. You guys can customize the descriptions to your business, maybe like over 35 years of experience. You have to keep it, these descriptions are shorter, you have to keep it 35 characters, but make your descriptions relevant to what the page is. So what I'd recommend doing is at least try to fill up the 4 here of different pages on your website. So moving all these different pages here, you can create site link extensions for, and then those will just show under your ad. So try to do the most relevant site links first. And then people will see them right under your ad. And instead of having to go to your website and click on the menu, they can get to that page right from your ad.
Yeah. Would there ever be a time that you would want to do a site link to something other than a page on your website? Like maybe your Facebook business page? Would that ever be a good strategy, or just keep everything going towards your business website?
Yeah. I would say towards a website, just because the goal with with Instagram or Facebook is, we're trying to put out content, but every day, we're trying to get them to do one of our call to actions, which is usually, again, if we think about the end goal, call us or book on our website. And the social media is just marketing to get people to go to the website. So what I'd recommend is still send them right to the website so we can get them to do that goal, which is like either, again, call us or sign up.
Good.
So yeah, I won't fill all of them in today just for the sake of time, but again,
this is good.
That's just a little bit like visually what it looks like. So you have your ad, you have your headlines, you have a description, and then you'll have all your different site links under your ad.
Perfect.
Call out extensions. Now here, you can just put different promotions for your business. So maybe call today for $20 off, or whatever your promotion is that you're doing for your business. You put all the different promotions you can under here, and these will just promote people to wanna click on your ad more.
Yeah, and that's huge. So I did a video with Logan Snyder, and we talked a lot about in our video irresistible offers, and taking some time to craft a really good offer, because everybody does 10% off, right? How can you be different? So this is a great area to be able to be a little creative and play around with it, see what works.
Exactly. And once your ads start collecting data, you'll be able to look at what people are clicking on out of all of these call out extensions. So it's a good way to split test your different offers and see what is the most popular with people.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, that'll go right next to your description. You'll have your call out text. So again, I recommend filling all 4. Call extensions. So just put in your number here and then click save. Pretty simple. And then, there's some other ones here. So your structured snippet, that one I always do. Messaging, if you have a text, like a phone that can, text, I recommend setting that up. A location extension, that's another cool one. But for the sake of time for today, I'd recommend like just sticking like,
Yeah.
if I could choose just three, I would say these three are the most important. Like all the other ones are extra ones they show. And if you have time, go through them.
Yeah.
But these ones are the most important.
Perfect. Perfect. And that message extension may be good for that owner operator that runs their business basically through their cell. So that way, so be thinking, if you're an owner out there that's like, I'm going out on the trucks a lot, I'm out of the office a lot, that could be advantageous for you.
Yeah, 100%. And if you think about like most people nowadays, like, are they using their emails more or do they check their text message more? Of course, it's text. Everyone is always on their phone. So, if you can set up some sort of messaging bot or like something, or like have someone doing that stuff, it's just going to make it like, it's just so much more convenient for people.
Absolutely.
Okay. So for here, I don't like setting up my campaign this way. Google will try to get you to set up your like ad group and keywords and stuff right here. But there's another really cool tool in Google that we can use to set this up. So just keep one keyword here just so Google lets you like move on. But we're just going to click save and continue. Don't worry about this. We'll delete that ad group after. Again, it'll do some automatic headlines and stuff here, but we're just going to click save and continue. So we can get to our Google Ads tool. Now this is the last screen. You're just going to click publish. And now you're in the Google Ads platform. So this is like one of the main areas. So you have your campaigns here. Under your campaign, you have your ad group. And under your ad groups, you have your ads.
Yeah.
So on the left-hand bar here, you have your overview, and you can see different analytics from your ads, your clicks, your impressions. Typically, what I set this up as is I'll do clicks first, I'll do conversion second, and if you want, you can optimize like specifically for phone calls if you want to see those.
Yeah.
But or we can just optimize for all. Usually I do all phone calls and website signups.
Yeah.
And then another huge thing that all my customers want is they want to know how much they're paying for each phone call or for each website sign up. So we'll keep that there, and then the cost. So how many clicks our ads are getting, what our conversions are, how many signups or calls we're getting, how much we're paying for those, and the total cost. We want to get this number as high as possible and this one as low as possible.
Yep.
One other thing you guys can look at here from time to time is your click-through ratio. So average click-through ratio is usually like pretty low, like 2 to 4%.
Right.
I try to get this at least to 10%. And what click-through ratio is let's say 100 people see your ad. Out of those 100 people who see your ad, how many actually click on it?
Yeah.
So if 10 people click on it, 10% click-through ratio.
What's the highest that you've ever really heard of someone being able to perform for a click-through?
Yeah, maybe like
just curious.
Yeah, I think 30-40%.
Oh wow.
50, maybe even 50. With some people, with like I work with an HVAC company, for example, and their budget is only $20. It's $20 a day, but the cost per click in that industry is very high. With HVAC companies, they got a sign up, it's worth a lot of money. So they're paying like $15 per click. So they don't get as many clicks as a smaller business who are paying like $2-3 a click, but it's also worth more money to them. And with those people, because they don't get as much clicks, even if a small percentage of people actually like go and click on the ad for who's seen it, I've seen like really high results with them.
Yeah. And with moving companies, and Adam, you may not be zoned in on this number, but you'll see a lot of companies their average move could be a revenue of $800 to $1,000. Some companies that do more larger homes could be up in that $1,500 mark. Some people are up in that $2,000 mark, but a lot of people are around $1,000. is their average move. So when you look at that, it's all about ROI.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And like, every industry has, the leads are worth different with each industry. Like, with like martial arts or a gym, like they might not be, or yoga studio or something like that, they might not be the leads might not be worth as much as like a company like this. So that's another thing you have to keep in mind. Think about what the average value is of each of your customers, and make sure this number is somewhat relative to them, to that.
Absolutely.
So next thing you're going to want to do is we're going to set up the campaign. We're going to look up what people are looking up in your area so we can see what keywords are hot. So right over here, we're going to come back to this tools and settings panel. And under planning, we have something called the keyword planner. There's a lot of other random stuff here. Honestly, don't worry about any of this other stuff right now. Keyword planner is probably one of the most important tools in that whole thing. So we're going to discover some new keywords. We're going to figure out what the monthly search is on keywords related to our businesses. So type in your location here, just so Google can filter. New York is going to be kind of maybe we should dial in a bit more.
I think it was Bronx.
Okay. Bronx. All right.
Bronx County. Let's see. That might be better.
All right. Great. So put in your location here. Under here, you can put your website if you want it to if you want Google to crawl your website for relevant search terms. So just copy your website URL. Another thing you can do there is put your competitors' websites, because Google will crawl their websites, and if they have cool search terms and ads they're bidding on that you aren't using, they'll come up.
So basically leverage the work that your competitors already did with creative and writing.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And then now you can type in something relevant to your business. So maybe moving company is an easy one we can start with.
Sure.
Get results. So now it's just loading up here. Here we go. So usually, first of all, I like to filter this for average monthly searches.
Okay.
Just so I can see, what are the most popular keywords. And we have a graph here too. We can look at how keywords related to your business are performing on Google month over month. But here is all the keywords. So what I can see here is what the keyword is, what the average monthly searches is, what the competition on that keyword is. Here is top of the page bid. So this is how much you'd have to pay per click to get at the very top of the page above all the other ads. So that's another thing you want to keep in mind too. For example, here it has 1,000 monthly searches, so it's getting a lot of eyes on that keyword. And the top of the page, that's a low range. Actually, this is a high range, $20.
Yep.
The low range is $8 here, whereas here, way less. You're only getting 50 average monthly searches, but you're paying way more for the keyword. So with stuff like that, it's probably not worth bidding on that. You just want to look at what's getting a lot of searches at a relatively reasonable cost.
And I'm going to do a little plug there. So that is going to depend on your business model as a mover. Some movers are highly geared towards long distance moves, and there's a lot of profitability in long distance moving. So if you do a lot of long distance moves, it is worth it. But if you don't do a lot of long distance moves, don't click that one. If you're a local residential move only, you don't go out of state, don't mess with that one, because it's going to cost you more money.
Exactly. and you want the keywords to be as relevant as possible to your business. If there's a certain moving keyword that's not relevant to your business, like the services you offer, then don't click it.
Yeah.
But I'll show you guys how to set up one or two ad campaigns quick. Usually I recommend doing like 10 to 15 ad campaigns
Okay.
minimum for each account, but I'll show you guys how to set up one or two just so you can see how it works. So first ad group we'll do is a pretty broad ad group for people to land on the home page of the website.
Okay.
So anything to do with moving company. So, moving companies near me, Bronx movers near me. And we want, depending on your budget, if you're starting with like $10, $15 a day budget, you just want to put max, maybe 10, 15 keywords in each ad group.
Okay.
Don't go above that to start. If your budget's lower, let Google, collect some data with the first 10 to 15. And then, if they're not working well for you, you can come back here and add some more keywords.
Right.
So moving services, again, long distance, if it doesn't apply to you, don't
Now, like mover helper there. So this is industry specific, but movers know that U-Haul has a secondary service called mover helper. And so that's basically labor that they promote and sell through the U-Haul website. So that you have to be careful with that one, mover helper, because that's going to ping, that's going to attract stuff that you may not want. So it's some of this stuff is industry specific, knowing what some of these things mean.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, I see people like for another industry, for example, would be like martial arts gyms. I see someone who offers, maybe they do boxing,
Right.
but they're clicking all the like kung fu and all this stuff for keywords.
Right.
What happens is like if someone looks up kung fu, they're not looking for boxing, but that ad will come up for them, and then you're just kind of wasting your budget on that. So yeah, we'll do two more, maybe like.
Yeah, and I'll let you roll from here. We've got about 10 minutes left, so I just want to.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, we'll wrap this up in the next, next 5 minutes or so. So basically, this is an example of an ad group. You're going to add it to your campaign, which is what I did there. You're going to create a new ad group. So let's call it moving company.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's different types of matches. Broad match will show your keywords to a bunch of different people. Mm-hmm. I don't usually recommend this because it's not as targeted. Start with the phrase match because it's going to show your match to a lot more relevant people. Mm-hmm. Relevant people with your keywords. Exact match will show it to exactly just people who look up moving company. But when starting out, I recommend phrase match. Mm-hmm. So add keywords. Now again, this place has so many different, they have local, they have long distance, commercial, international. So if I was doing the Google ads for this company, I'd have a different ad group for each of these. One for local, one for long distance, one for commercial, one for international, and all of that. And then I'd have one broad ad group, which is what I did for just landing on the homepage. But the ad groups that are probably going to perform better are the specific ad groups for each of these services.
Perfect.
So back to Google Ads again, try to do at least at the minimum, if you don't have much time, do 5 ad groups, but don't just do one. That's the most important thing. We showed you guys how to set up one here, but try to set up in each ad group for each of your services.
Perfect.
So we'll click off of here for now. Go into here. We have our ad group moving company. Now we can delete this other ad group here because we're not going to be using it. So you're just going to click on it there, click edit, and click remove. Now we're going to go on to our ad group. So I'll show you guys how to create one ad. So first we're going to enter the website URL. Now again, because this thing's popping up, because this is more of like a broad ad group, we're going to send them right to the homepage.
Perfect.
We can do maybe Bronx moving companies. You could do your deal here. So
Mhm.
what's a common deal in the moving industry?
Well, a common one would be, $50 off their move or 10% off.
Okay, we'll do fifty
Let's do
dollars
cash.
move, and then the third, you want to do the actual name of the business. Now, what this is going to do? Number one, it'll start building up your brand awareness, and
Mhm.
number two, if you're running ads on Facebook or another platform already, and then people see your ads again on Google,
Right.
they're going to have a much higher buyer intent. So it's very good for your branding to keep the name of your company in the ads.
Yeah.
So what is it called? Roadway moving. And you can see here another thing I did is added the city that they're in. Now it's just going to make the ads much more relevant to people in our demographic.
Yeah.
You can do a display path here if your URL is super long, but this one is just pretty standard, so we don't have to worry about it. Description, we can just, for now, we'll just copy a couple things from the
Yeah.
homepage, but when you guys are doing your descriptions, try to make it as relevant as possible to the ad you're running. So if you're running like a long distance moving ad, then have your descriptions geared towards that.
Yeah. Specific. Yep.
Yeah. So save ad. What you're gonna want to do is create at least 3 ads. So Google will have these 3 squares here.
Mhm.
Do two text ads and a responsive search ad. A responsive search ad is pretty much a bunch of different headlines. So Google will give you the option to do I think like 15 or 20 different headlines and up to
Mhm.
4 different descriptions. And you're just going to enter a bunch of different headlines and descriptions, and Google will automatically make their own ads and optimize to show the best performing ads. Now, which one is better? It really just depends. Some ad groups, the text ads are better. Some ad groups, the responsive search ads are better. Just depends on your business. So again, what you're gonna do, you have your campaign here, you have your ad groups under, and then you have minimum 3 ads for each ad group and minimum 5 ad groups. That's how you set up a Google Ads campaign. One last thing I'll show you guys super quickly
Yeah.
is just setting up your call tracking, because that's one thing we talked about that was
Mhm.
important. So come back to your tools and settings, click on conversions, and then we have our website lead that we set up here. Click the plus button and click on phone calls. And you're just going to click calls from ads using call extension. So basically anyone who called right from your Google ads, you can track that. You can also create another one for calls on your website eventually, but I recommend starting with the first one. Enter the name, just call it call.
Mhm.
When create and continue, done. So now our Google ads will be tracking calls and website leads. So yeah, there's so much more advanced stuff we can go into, like remarketing and
Yeah.
audiences and demographics, negative keywords. But for the average business owner today, like, and for the sake of time, just wanted to show you guys like a
Yeah.
overview of some of the essentials of setting up a Google Ads campaign. If I
Yeah.
could only do the essential, 3-4 main strategies and components, this is what I would do for setting up a Google Ads campaign.
Yeah. And this is where, we talked about this before I think we got on the call, is that if you're a small business owner, um, I look at 2 things in my business. I look at money and I look at time. Time, a lot of times, is almost just as valuable or more valuable because it's limited. Money, I can make as much money, you can blow out money, but you only have 24 hours. Everybody's got that amount of time. So you have to weigh out what's your time worth. And so if your time is not worth a lot, then okay, go try to do all this yourself. But if your time's worth, a pretty fair amount, let's say you estimated that your time was worth $100 an hour. What if we said that? How many hours could somebody spend just trying to figure all this out? Days. Okay, so then you weigh that option. It's like, okay, why don't I just, when the budget's right, let me find someone that knows what they're doing and that can help me. That is my opinion, because it can get super in depth and you want it to work right. There's no point in spending the money if it doesn't work well. So Adam, this was awesome. What we'll have to do is we'll have to do another one of these. And what we'll do maybe is we'll go a little more on the mentality part, because that's what I like talking about, the mentality behind, what happens when you're 6 months into it and a customer is not happy with performance, or as an owner, when you're not seeing the numbers that you thought you were going to see, or the flip side, maybe you're seeing numbers that are crazy good. How can we keep our mentality in the right place so that way we're never too high, we're never too low, because that emotional stability promotes growth, because as the owner, you're the leader, you have to be very consistent, have to be very stable. But Adam, because obviously, man, you're a guru, like you're a wizard clicking on all these things. There's things I don't even know what they are. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you, I think we're crafting up an offer, right? So if somebody is interested in your services, if they, watch this video, they come through me or whatever, I think you're offering the first month half off working with them. How would somebody reach out to you for that? And, what would you say to that small business owner that maybe they've done something like this with another agency and it didn't work out well? Just talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, for sure. That's something I've seen, very commonly with a lot of my clients. Like, they come from other agencies where they're just not happy with the results, or, again, they're not aware of what the goals are of their campaign. Maybe they were just looking at the clicks and not focus on the calls and the leads they were getting.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing I like to do with all of my clients is I don't offer any contracts. Everything is month to month, because I believe in offering good results. Like, I think, if I get you guys more leads, if I get you guys more calls, you're going to want to stick with me, you're going to want to keep me going. And I don't try to trap anyone in contracts, because I believe that I can get you guys good results, and I try to make sure all of my clients are happy. So and again, for the first month, where I'm doing it 50% off, just to make it easier for for people to get started with Google Ads and get their campaign set up. And, again, worst case scenario, like you have a full Google Ads campaign set up for you by the end of that month. And you, if for whatever reason you're not happy, you don't have to continue. But, for all of my clients, again, I focus on really getting more calls and more signups, and, the transparency with all my clients, making sure we have good communication and good relationship. And, again, I focus on that things at the end of the day, making sure that you guys are seeing an ROI out of your ads.
Yeah. And one thing I want to point out too, especially for the moving companies, and this is any service-based business that's seasonal, you're going to see really good numbers in the late spring, or, in summer. We're in November, we're moving towards the winter. If you jump on and start working with Aadam, you'll have our always going to be better during the summer, because people are looking for they're looking for the service a ton during the summer. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Like, if you get started and you're doing this, the numbers will only get better in the summer. And this is where it's important, I'm not going to go down a tangent, but this is where it's important to have a cash reserve. Like, you need to be prepared for the winter. You need to not spend all your money in the summer, because you just made a bunch of money in the summer months and then you blew it, going on trips. So, Adam, this is awesome, man. I love this, dude. You're a wizard, man. So we'll do another one of these. And I've got a couple more minutes. I got ourselves a couple more minutes. So I want to ask you a couple questions before we jump off.
Awesome.
This is a kind of outside of specifically Google Ads. So let me ask you, this is what I've asked everybody. First thing, in the next 6 to 12 months, with all the stuff going on now you're up in Canada, we're in the US. So you're probably watching the US and the election stuff and all these crazy things. Like, y'all crazy down there. But with, everything going on, the next 6 to 12 months, what are you foreseeing for small businesses out here in the US?
You
What should
know,
owners be expecting? Do you think everything's just going to be kind of even keel? Do you think business is going to take a big dive? Business is going to be up? What do you think?
you know, one thing I learned with COVID happening in March is like anything can happen, like and one thing like honestly, like I'm not really sure how everything will go with the numbers, whether they'll get better, whether there'll be more lockdowns and all that stuff. But one thing I've learned from this situation is always prepare for like the worst case scenarios, have backup plans, like you were saying, have money saved up. But um, you know, with COVID and all of this going on right now, what's one of the worst case scenarios? Maybe lockdowns happen, and or maybe we're still in the exact same situation we are now, a year from now. And in that situation, you want to make sure your business is, COVID, you're marketing towards those things, like you're making sure people know that you're social distancing, and maybe you have all the essential services set up on your website so that everyone can do things themselves instead of having to come into your business. So yeah, like to answer your question, honestly, I'm not really sure how everything's going to go, but my mindset going into it is just, be prepared for the worst. Like if you have to move your business model like more online, then at least, adapt to that now, because that's where technology is going anyways in the next 5 to 10 years. Everything is going online. So, might as well adapt to it now.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that. Because again, I'm big on the mentality part, and you know, if you prepare for the worst thing, then nothing's going to surprise you.
Exactly.
And the worst thing as an owner is when things happen and you aren't ready for it. Because especially if you employ people, not only is it your family's income, now you're affecting other families' incomes. And business, sometimes you got to let people go, but you can prevent that having to happen if you are on top of things now. So I'm going to ask you another question and we'll kind of wrap up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, again, specific to moving companies. I know you're not necessarily a moving company specialist, you're a Google specialist. So for a small business though, to separate themselves from everybody else in their market, what do you think is the most important couple things to separate themselves, to really put themselves in another category? What are the big things for you?
The big things for me, one of the things that stand out is your brand, your branding of your company. A lot of people, they don't really, all their emphasis is in their marketing, but not a lot of people focus on the branding of your company. And, the branding is, pretty much people's, initial thoughts or, impressions of your company. What comes to mind when your name of the company comes up. And when you focus on building a self-sustaining brand, you're just going to get so many people coming to you organically. And it's something that I think is important. Aside and with branding, again, that's a big thing, is like your brand colors, you're making sure it's consistent throughout your website, your any of the print advertising you're doing, your logo, making sure it's you have a good logo, your social media, making sure like the brand messaging, is consistent across from your emails, your text messages, campaigns, your any of your social media posting. Other things that can help small businesses stand out is like on ads, like I was saying, diversifying the ads you do. Like I work with clients who I do everything for them, like from website to email campaigns, social media, Google and Facebook ads. And one thing we find is like 1 month we'll have maybe the Google ads do better, but 1 month the Facebook ads will do better. But if you had everything in that one platform, you're not getting to reap the benefits of the other ones. So that's what I think is huge in making small businesses stand out. like have some ads going, like so that you're very visible online to your customers, because a lot of small businesses aren't really taking advantage of the opportunity there is, online, running Facebook and Google ads. You guys can get so many new customers. You guys can track everything. It's just so much superior to print advertising or like radio advertising, because it's really
Yeah.
difficult. You can't really track the analytics, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think those things are very essential. Your website, another thing. A lot of people put all this money into running Google ads, but their website isn't good, and people will be, that's another common mistake is, I have some customers who I have to be transparent with them. I'm like, your ads, I have other people with the exact same business model as you running the same ads, and they're getting phenomenal results. So what's the problem here? The problem is that when people click on your website, either your website isn't optimized to mobile, or it just
Mhm.
isn't optimized to sell, and it just has a low conversion rate. So your website is another thing, but I think overall it's just getting into all these different platforms, like making sure you're visible everywhere. Maybe YouTube ads, maybe you have remarketing ads, display ads, Google ads. It's hard to get to that point right off the bat. But if you can, that's what all the big companies are doing. And if you can market like them as a small business, you're really going to stand out amongst all of your competition.
Yeah. Yeah. And that diversification, I think, is probably the best. That's probably one of the best tips. If especially moving company owners, I mean, some of them they're like, yeah, we handed out some business cards to some realtors, and we put up a couple yard signs and word of mouth, and that's like it.
Yeah.
And you can drum up business. Like there's so much you can do. It's all about like what are you trying to accomplish, and what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to sacrifice? The thing that with owners I have a hard time with is they look at money the wrong way. They don't understand money. It's probably the biggest mistake, because if you look at money as, oh, this is mine, like I have to hold on to it, you never wanted to use it. Money is a tool, it's a resource. What is today's number one currency is attention.
Yeah.
Money is secondary to attention. And I think that's exactly, I just framed it differently. What you were just saying is exactly what I just said.
100%. Yeah.
Attention is the number one currency today. And until you figure that part out, you're going to continue to struggle at times. Not that you won't ever struggle if you master this online stuff. There will still be ups and downs, but I can't promote that enough.
Yeah, exactly. Attention is huge, and to get your customers' attention, another huge thing is the strategy behind all of your marketing and your business. You want to make sure that your ads, your social media, your website is speaking to your target customer.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, like if you want to get their attention, yeah, they have to feel like you're speaking right to them, to their pain points, and just using the right messaging compared to just having a very broad, like a very broad messaging. So yeah, attention is huge, and just being on all those different platforms, and really finding the best ways to target your perfect customer will be huge for small businesses.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, the number one thing when you just said that, the very first thing that popped in my head was storytelling.
Yes. Yes.
Facts tell, stories sell. And it'll always be that way. That one thing will never change with business, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter how much online everything could go online. You could never see a customer in person again. Facts tell, stories sell. People love stories. I think if you create that brand image around your core values, why you do what you do, in your story, that's the separator stuff. That's what like takes takes you out of that conglomerate of you and 5 other service vendors that all kind of seem the same. You have the same amount of reviews. You kind of have the same branding on like logo branding, digital branding.
Yeah.
But your story elevates you. It elevates everything. It elevates your logo. It elevates your website. It elevates everything. So
Yeah,
I'm big on story brand marketing.
your branding is a way to get people to buy more at a higher price for a longer period of time. You know, if you think about like something like maybe, you know, going to well, where's somewhere in the US, like McDonald's for coffee compared to Starbucks, right?
Yeah.
You know, like Starbucks offers a much more like sometimes you're paying like anywhere from like $5 to $10 for a coffee from Starbucks, but you know, people go there because of their brand experience you get when they go. You know, they're always super, you know, friendly and kind to you, and just the whole branding of the company. People are into that. Or even like Apple compared to Samsung. Maybe like Samsung and some of these newer phones have more features than Apple. You know, they can do some cooler stuff. But why do people stick with Apple? It's because the brand of the Apple company. And that's something that, you know, small businesses, I don't see touching on that much. And I think if someone really started to put more emphasis into that, they could grow their businesses to new levels.
Dominate.
Yeah, dominate. Exactly.
Domination. And that's what I'm about. I'm about, because a lot of people, like some of these Facebook groups, and I'm sharing this on one of these moving owner Facebook groups. This is what everybody's going to be seeing this on. I hope people listen to this part. Is you're asking the wrong questions. You're posting on social, or you're asking wherever you're at, and you're asking questions of, how do I get more leads? It's like, it's not a question, how do you get more leads? How do you create a real business that has a story? How do you create an asset? Because a business is going to be an asset for you. How do you create a lifelong asset that you can build it for a while, and then eventually you can buy your time back and have true lifestyle? The goal is not to run a business and be stuck in it forever, working 80 hours a week. And you know, if you truly love it, then it won't feel like work most of the time. Some of it will, right, Adam? There's those times where you can't avoid it. Customers, clients, it is what it is. But that 10%, there's that 10%.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the kind of stuff I love talking about. This is awesome. So yeah, again, if you want to get in touch with Adam, ALO Media, I'm going to post this and I'm going to put in the description at the link to their website and his contact info. So you can click that, or if you come through us at Move Up Consulting, we will send you over to Adam. However it goes, it's worth it to me. I don't know. I guess you as the owner, you got to figure it out. You got to figure out how much is your time worth. So Adam, I appreciate it, man. This is awesome, dude. We'll do another one. Let's do another one.
Yes, we have to do another one soon. But, you know, thank you for your time today, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, folks, we're signing off. Have a great rest of the day. We'll see you at the top.